Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we are taking a look at the newest premium ship in game, and that is the Tier 8 premium British destroyer, the Eskimo. So, the Eskimo is another tribal class destroyer, same class as the Cossack, which is a ship that's going to come up a lot as we discuss the Eskimo. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Eskimo and talk about what exactly she is. But before we do, a lot of you guys aren't subscribed, yet you watch these videos every day. You should fix that by clicking the subscribe button. And while you're down there, definitely hit the like button too while you're at it. The YouTube really likes to see those two things happen. Helps out with the channel and all that jazz, so I greatly appreciate it. And again, you guys watch these videos every day, yet you're not subscribed, so subscribe, why don't you? But anyway, so the Eskimo, after I do the cringe YouTuber thing because I have to appease the algorithm, the Eskimo. The Eskimo is a very interesting ship indeed, because basically what Wargaming did is they took the Cossack and they removed a lot of the things that make the Cossack, well, the Cossack, mainly her consumables. The Eskimo does not have hydro, does not have the British smokescreen, and does not have the engine boost. All the Eskimo has in terms of her consumables are a standard smokescreen and a damage con. That's it. No heal, no hydro, nothing else. Just a smokescreen and a damage con. That's fairly lackluster by most Tier 8 destroyers' toolkits. When you look at other destroyers at Tier 8, they tend to have Hydro, DFAA, or, something along the lines of like an engine boost and smokescreen to help them out. Not the Eskimo, which that is a big turnoff for a lot of players right there. Obviously, when again, you keep the Cossack in mind. But what does she get in exchange for that? Well, what she does get is some absolutely absurd main battery guns. She has the same 8 main battery guns that the Cossack has. They're the same caliber and everything, except that with the Eskimo's guns, her guns, the HE has the exact same alpha damage as the AP. And the HE on the Eskimo, despite, again, literally being the same guns as the Cossack, they can pin 30 millimeters of armor instead of the 20 millimeters of armor that the Cossack's guns can. That's pretty good. In exchange for this, though, in addition to losing all the consumables and such, she has a 2-second longer reload, which is kind of a killer to the RPM. But keep in mind, you're doing 2100 alpha damage with the HE, and she can pin 30 millimeters of armor base, and she has a 12% fire chance. That's pretty good for the main battery guns. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but why would I care about this when, you have the Cossack there, which has, more utility and such? Well, because you see with the Eskimo, with that increased pin and damage, you are doing a whole hell of a lot more consistent damage with the Eskimo. Keep in mind, we are at Tier 8 in the matchmaking bracket. The last major armor threshold in the game is 32 millimeters of armor. So if you have a ship whose guns, especially when we're talking about cruisers and destroyers, whose HE shells and our main battery guns can pin 32 millimeters of armor, you are golden. Because all you really have to do to every ship from Tier 8 on up is hit their bow or their stern anywhere, and your HE will pin that armor, and you will be getting damage just by hitting anywhere where there's 32 millimeter plating. It's not like AP, where you have to hit from the right angle or anything like that. As long as you hit that plating, you're pinning it, and you're doing damage with HE. And the Eskimo can base pin 30 millimeters of armor, which is fantastic for a Tier 8 destroyer to have that capability on her main battery guns. So by simply taking IFHE, you can now pin 37 millimeters of armor, which means you can pin 32 and then some. You can even pin 35 millimeter plating if you really want to for whatever reason, which there are a couple of ships that can do that, that have armor around that rating. But anyway, so you're getting good consistent pin damage with the Eskimo, and it's not only like consistent pin damage, it's a nice level of damage because, again, the HE shells have the same 2100 alpha damage as the AP shells. So you're doing a lot of damage per salvo with these guns. Well, how much damage per salvo, Sealord? If you, like, drain all 8 of your shells on enemy destroyers, if you run across another Tier 8 destroyer, you can likely obliterate them in 4 salvos if you land all 8 shots. Which isn't really hard to do if you're playing at, normal destroyer engagement ranges, like if you're fighting over a cap or something. It's not hard to do. There were several times throughout the night when I was playing this thing on stream last night where I ran across, half health Tier 8 destroyers, and we destroyed them in 2 salvos. That is absurd that you can do this consistently with the HE shells. Not only destroyers too, fellas. Cruisers, you can and you will bully cruisers in the Eskimo. Keep in mind too, you have a normal smoke screen, meaning you can sit in there in your smoke and just farm to your heart's content. If a destroyer or a cruiser is trying to push into you, pop smoke, farm him down. You're going to take a lot of his HP with him if he manages to get to your smoke and, well, get to you. Keep in mind too, you can do this with battleships as well, because again, you can pin 32 millimeters of armor if you take IFHE, so you can comfortably farm down battleships with the Eskimo's guns, and you're doing like around 3 to 4k a salvo, and you're still setting plenty of fires because the Eskimo has a higher fire chance. So when you take, Demolition Expert and the flags, you still have an 8% fire chance on top of pinning 37 millimeters of armor with the main battery guns. So that's pretty good. Now, yes, she does give up a lot of the Kazak's utility in order to achieve this, but I mean, and this is where the Kazak comes up, because so many times throughout stream, viewers would pop and say, oh yeah, the Eskimo's pretty terrible, it's pretty mediocre, yada yada yada, as I'm sitting there chewing my way through the enemy team's cruisers and farming down their battleships and the Eskimo. I'm doing this. And I'm coming, like, in the top 4 consistently throughout the night. You can go back and watch the stream. There are 1 or 2 matches where I didn't, because I ate, a random torpedo at the start of the match. But pretty much every single match in the Eskimo last night on stream, where we played it for, like, 2 hours straight, I was in the top 4. Me. 8 brain over here, 8 brain battleship player was coming in the top 4 in the Eskimo. So if it's that good to where I can do that, imagine this in the hands of a competent destroyer player. It's a good ship. No, it's not the Kazakh, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Warship players have this mentality that if it's not outright cracked or busted, then it's no good. And keep in mind, when we talk about Kazakh, you can compare the Eskimo to the Kazakh. The Kazakh is one of the best Tier 8 destroyers, or actually it's one of the best destroyers in the game, period. And it's one of the best Tier 8 premium ships in the game, period, too. So that's a very high bar that you're trying to hold the Eskimo to when it already has its thing. It doesn't play like the Kazakh. It's not really a cap contesting destroyer. It can do it, but really kind of goes to the flank, tries to catch the cruisers and such, or the destroyers off guard, blap them with your high alpha damage HE, and ruin their day in that way. That's kind of what the Eskimo does, and that's how it's best played. Keep in mind too that the Eskimo, not only does she get the better alpha and the better pin on the main battery guns, she also gets 12.5 kilometer torpedoes, which the Kazakh only has 10 kilometer torpedoes, but they still reload in 64 seconds. Same alpha damage, 16,000 damage and change, and they reload in 64 seconds. But you have 2 more kilometers. That's pretty good too. No, again, it emphasizes the longer range gameplay of the Eskimo over the Kazakh. And I mean, you're just absolutely crapping out these 12 kilometer torps every 64 seconds base. Of course, when you add adrenaline rush in there, you take a couple of hits, you're under a 60-second reload there pretty quickly with these torpedoes. So that's pretty good too. The rest of the ship, from what I can tell, is pretty much the Kazakh, so it's a pretty comfortable ship to play. And like I said, I was coming in top 4 of this ship throughout the night. But another massive draw to the Eskimo is that this ship is fairly cheap right now. So the Eskimo is part of the From Narvik to Dunkirk event. In this event, you can earn adventure tokens by taking part in a campaign. In order to start the campaign, just go to the armory, go to the From Narvik to Dunkirk section. The first bar on the top is the adventure. Click on it. Click, start adventure, whatever. Like all the other, adventures and campaigns that they've done in the past. And now you have the missions in your combat mission tab, and you just play through the missions. By doing so, you will earn 420 adventure tokens by finishing that chain. And then, as long as you every day get the free daily bundle, you will earn an additional 170 tokens from the daily bundle once you collect all of those. That will give you a grand total of 590 of these adventure tokens for free. Now, you do have to buy the last bit because the Eskimo is in the event for 800 adventure tokens. So you got to buy the last 210. You do that in the Ships That Fought random bundles. Each of these most of these bundles are what's known as logistic kits, where you get 35 of these adventure tokens, 5,500 free XP, 16,255 commander XP, then 324,000 credits. So if you, I guess, get lucky or get unlucky and get nothing but these logistic kits, you only have to spend 5,694 doubloons in order to get the Eskimo, which is a grand total of $22 for a Tier 8 premium ship that is really good in my opinion. Now, you'll probably, along the way, get one of the other random bundles that all have premium ships in them. You can even get the Eskimo in one of those bundles for 999 doubloons. That's how much each of these bundles cost. So if you do that, I mean, that's a no-brainer. You get the Eskimo for almost nothing, right? And then you can also pick up the Kazakh, the Charles 43, the Warspite, or the Montcalm along the way. So not only are you only spending $22 to get the Eskimo, but there's a good chance that you'll get another premium ship as well. That's pretty good in my humble opinion. So I would highly recommend you pick up the Eskimo. You can acquire her in another manner besides getting lucky in the random bundles and besides grinding out the event in order to acquire the Eskimo. You can purchase her in the premium shop in an Admiral bundle. Hey, at least you can buy it outright, but that will run you $87 US. Now, of course, you get a 10-point commander, a port slot, and bunch of the green economic bonuses. You get 60 of each of those, 3 million doubloons, and a couple of premium camos along the way. So you are getting $90 worth of stuff, but you're forking over $90 for a Tier 8 premium ship. So I would recommend grind her out in the event. Make sure you get those daily free bundles in the armory. And then fork over $22 to get an excellent Tier 8 premium destroyer. I mean, Tier 8 ships, they're $48 US, $50 US nowadays. So you're getting the ship for half off by just playing through this event as you play the game. The event is in the armory from Part 1, started 2 days ago and ends on May 21st. Part 2 starts on May 21st and ends on June 18th. So you got quite some time to work your way through this event. So, yes, in my opinion, Eskimo, absolutely worth it. If you like playing gunboat destroyers, this is most definitely the ship for you. Again, the HE is so nice. It's so comfortable to just get those good, solid HE hits on the enemy ship and just be farming them down while setting fires and such. And it's great at bullying destroyers too. Like, it's not like, again, it's not a Kazakh. It's not meant to go in there and knife fight with destroyers. But when you run across some, if you play it right, you hang back, you're kind of that second line destroyer, you bully cruisers for the first half of the game. Then later in the match, when it's down to you and a couple of destroyers, you're still there, mostly at full HP. You smack the ever-living crap out of them and go on about your day and help your team win the match. It happens several times in the night. Again, you can go watch the full stream for yourself on YouTube or on Twitch, and you can get a good idea of what it's like playing the Eskimo from that. But yeah, second line gunboat destroyer. If you like that type of gameplay, Eskimo is definitely for you. You can get it for $22 and a little bit of a grind. So I would highly recommend her for those of you that sounds appealing to, or anyone that's looking to pick up a a Tier 8 premium ship for literally half off at this point. So guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the Eskimo. Have you picked her up yet? If you have, what's your opinion on her? If you're planning on picking her up, or you're planning on, working your way through the adventure and the even in the armory, let me know all that good stuff down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday, wonderful weekend. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.